their children who attended Lakewood. And I've been here, this is my 26th year at Lakewood. And I live kind of far. I live in like southeastern Aurora, almost to Parker. And I drive every day, and I will say that I do have dreams about not having to cross Broadway unless I want to. But it's totally worth it. This is an amazing school. I feel so privileged to work with an amazing staff. I am, year after year, amazed at how bright our students are, how much fun they are, the energy that they bring to the building. Last year was so eye-opening for me because it really clarified what I missed about students. And that is, you know, the energy that they bring to the school, being able to do activities, to be able to build community. I'm just thrilled that we are back in person, and hopefully, you know, things will just continue to get better for us. But it is truly a wonderful place to be. And one of the things I like to emphasize to students and parents is that IB is a program at Lakewood High School. It is not a school within a school. It's not a separate entity. You are all Lakewood students first. And then after that, you are an IB student, or an AP student, or a student who's involved in theater, or a band student, an athlete, debate student, all of those things. And our motto is "We are family," and I think it really does hold true here. Not just students, but also our parent community. And so on that note, I want to introduce one of our fabulous parents. Her daughter is a senior this year, and so she's going to be graduating with her, but we are trying desperately to flunk her. And we're starting early. It's only October. We're coming up with a lot of different ways. So I want to introduce Ann Fletcher, who is our IBPA president, and she's going to talk to you a little bit about our IBPA program. It is a wonderful program that allows parents to be involved in the IB aspect of their children's education, and IBPA does so much for the entire school. So I definitely want to introduce her and have her speak for a bit. So, Ms. Ann Fletcher.
Good evening, everyone. I'm not as good at talking in a mask as you are. I'm so thrilled to be here and so thrilled to see such a great turnout. Does anyone already have kids in IB at this point? Great. Maybe you can help me with this. So I'm Ann Fletcher. I do have a senior, Casey, who is in the IB program. She plays sports, but you can see that we have a lot of different offerings for kids as they are first and foremost Tigers, and then secondly take on the IB program. You can do everything, I think, that you want to. So in her particular case, she plays golf. She's played volleyball the last couple of years, or the first 2 years, and now she's playing golf for Lakewood. So for the IBPA, that's the Parents Association, we're here to support students, to support faculty, and to support academic achievement. There are about 500 families, give or take a few, that make up the IB community, and we're here for them primarily. So what we do is a number of things. First, we have general meetings once a month, most months, and we focus on things that are important to being successful in the IB program. So most recently, we've had an IB panel, which consisted of IB prep and IB students talking about best practices for IB. It's a traditional favorite, and you hear from the students themselves. And so they will share tips on how to navigate the IB program. It is a lot of work. It is not something to be taken lightly, but it is certainly doable. And any student, I think, can do well in IB. They just need to put in the work. We also have a meeting on extended essays, which is one of the extracurricular activities that is part of the IB program, along with the impact on a later month, but the impact of IB on college and how continuing through and being successful in the IB program helps with college admission as well as college prep. And then we actually have a meeting coming up in November, here in a few weeks, because what we like to do is also offer some support emotionally. And so we have a meeting coming up, mental health and fitness for teens and parents. We'll have a certified academic coach speaking about things that you can do to maintain positiveness, maintain stamina, manage stress. And so we're looking forward to that. We also staff, and this is on behalf of all of Lakewood, and supports all the Lakewood students, the after-school library program. Our parents come in for a shift or 2 or 3 each month from Monday through Thursday from about 3:15 to 5. We staff the library for any student that would like to be there, whether it be to do homework, get on the internet, wait for rides. And so we've been happy to see that we've been able to do that. We had to suspend last year, but we're back this year. We also provide test proctors. So later in the school year, students will take IB and AP tests, and there are quite a few. And so we do have volunteers through our families that act as test proctors. We also conduct some staff appreciation events because the staff at Lakewood is absolutely awesome, and we really appreciate them. And so occasionally we like to reach out and tell them just what we think about them and how much we do appreciate them. We also have some fundraisers. In fact, our first fundraiser of the year is this Wednesday, day after tomorrow, Chick-fil-A and I know everyone loves, right, Chick-fil-A, in Colorado Mills, so on Indiana and Colfax. If you would like to support us, please feel free to have dinner there. Mention the IBPA, and we'll receive some donation from them. We also do offer for IBPA members, it's $20 a year to be a member. We do offer the ability to participate in community rewards programs, and that would be specifically King Supers and Shop with Script. It's a rather new one. But it allows you to earn money to defray your IB test scores later in the year. We also have a number of other fundraisers to support our Angel Fund and our Teacher Wish List. The Angel Fund is there for IB families that need some help with IB test fees. We've been able to help in the past. And then the Teacher Wish List, we've been lucky and fortunate to be able to help there. Most recently, last year, we bought some CO2 sensors for the IB biology lab. So that was fun to be able to help in that way. And then probably our biggest event of the year, and one that I'm kind of looking forward to, is the senior banquet. And so we like to honor our graduating IB seniors with a banquet. We're working on that for the class of 2022. And there we are able to award scholarships. And so a lot of our fundraising goes towards scholarships. But over the past 15 years or so, we've been able to do that every year. Last year, we awarded about $10,000 in scholarships to 6 deserving IB students. So the seniors are free to apply for a scholarship starting in March of next year, and hopefully we'll have a lot of applicants. So I think that's about it. I do want to thank you again for your time. Is there anything else I'm missing? No, great. Okay, great. Thank you. And that, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. So well-supported students program, certainly well-supported with parents as well. And so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the program itself, and we'll see how well this works. Okay, well, I'll have to stand a little closer to my computer here. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have ever read Lakewood's mission statement, but I have it up here because it is very similar to the IB's mission statement. Lakewood wants to give students a first-rate educational experience, a family atmosphere, create a culture of respect, problem-solving, critical thinking skills, interpersonal skills that will prepare students for a diverse and rapidly changing society. This is IB's mission statement. So you can see some of the carryover. Certainly inquiring, knowledgeable, caring, which fits, certainly with the culture of respect, create a better and more peaceful world, intercultural understanding and respect, a challenging program with an international education, rigorous assessment, active, compassionate, lifelong learners who understand that other people with their differences can also be right. And some of the things that I love about the IB program, one, I would say, is the critical thinking, the opportunity for students to really explore subjects that they are interested in. We have a great AP program as well, and one of the parents and students ask, what's the difference between AP and IB? And I think that IB is probably more concept-driven, a little bit more of the why, how, and to what extent, while AP is a little bit more heavy on content. And so some students just like that conceptual learning. I really enjoy teaching. I teach IB English 12, and I really enjoy that conceptual teaching. I feel like it really does foster great critical thinking skills. And then certainly the aspect of becoming or being a respectful, caring, compassionate human being who understands other people, while they can have different opinions, that they can also be right. And I think in our, as our world changes, that probably is more important than ever. And so I like to point out the similarities between our mission statement and IB's mission statement. So IB has what they call a learner profile, and these are qualities that many IB students have. So they are inquirers, so they like to question. They are knowledgeable. They are thinkers and communicators. They are principled and open-minded. They are caring, risk-takers. And they are also balanced and reflective. And these are the learner traits that an IB education likes to, or hopes to foster and sort of instill these in students, because as you can see, these are lifelong skills. They're not just skills for an academic program. They're skills that students can utilize throughout time. So our IB program is a full diploma program, and it is formally a 2-year program. So students really enter IB when they are juniors. Some students, as you'll see, are able to take an IB course as a sophomore, depending on their level. Students will take 6 subjects and test in those 6 subjects over the course of the 2 years, taken through 1 and 2-year courses. And then if students meet all the criteria for an IB diploma, they can earn that IB diploma in addition to their Jefferson County Lakewood High School diploma. Let's see if this will work. Okay. All right, so in the diploma program, students study 4 core subjects. So English, math, science, and social studies. IB calls them groups. So group 1 is called language A, which for us is English. That's our school's first language. Group 2 is a world language. Group 3 is what we call like social studies. IB calls it individuals and societies. Group 4 is the science. Group 5 is math. And then group 6 is the arts. So students will take the core subjects, English, math, science, and social studies. They will take a world language and then an IB elective. Then they also participate in what IB calls their core. And this consists of 3 things. The first is CAS, which stands for Creativity, Activity, and Service. And this is where students over the course of their junior and senior year engage in activities that help them to become more creative or sort of push them creatively, actively, and then of service. This also involves a 1-month project that they do sometime during their junior, senior year. And IB likes to see sustained involvement in CAS activities over the course of that 18 months, junior and senior year. We have students who are doing amazing CAS projects. When I, at the end of the junior year and the senior year, when I read the CAS portfolio and read about what students are doing, it is unbelievable the ripple effect and the impact that they are having, not only on their local community, but on the state community and even in some cases, the national and international community. They also take a course called Theory of Knowledge. We have a lot of acronyms in IB. It's TOK. And they take that course the end of the 2nd semester junior year, 1st semester senior year. And it really is a course on the ways of knowing. So how do you know what you know, and how do you know? And we have a couple seniors here who will tell you because they're in their second part of the course. And then students complete an extended essay. And this is a college level research paper that they begin in about January of their junior year. And they're paired with a faculty advisor. They get to choose the subject area that they work in. They work with a faculty advisor and work on their extended essay, from about February when they finalize their research question through October of their senior year. So our two seniors, you can see the relief on their faces. They turned in their final extended essay last Monday? A week ago Monday? Okay, they would definitely remember better than myself. And when our seniors speak, I would love for you guys to share what you guys did for your extended essay. Those, like the CAST projects, are so incredibly impressive. I was talking to two, when students turn them in. I'm an English teacher, so I read English extended essays. I don't get the chance to read them in other areas. And one student did a whole study about how much lemon juice to put in flowers for absorption and how they'll last longer. And I'm like, that is some practical knowledge I could use because I love to have flowers. Another student, I'm trying to think of, hers, it was the same, totally practical, some kind of practical study. I was like, wow, I'm so glad I asked about this. These are real life applications, and now they're experts in that area. So while the extended essay is a huge project that you guys will attest to, it is amazing what these kids discover through that. So in the last date that we have good data for IB testing was May 2019. Because of the pandemic, the 2020 exams were canceled, and last year Lakewood elected to not have in-person exams because there was really no way to safely do them with the COVID restrictions. So in May of 2019, a little over 166,000 students tested from 144 countries. And the world diploma pass rate is 77%. The U.S. diploma pass rate is 85%, and I love to brag about Lakewood. Our average diploma pass rate is 97%, and that's over 22 years. And that is really a testament to a faculty that really understands the IB program, really knows how to prepare our students well for those assessments, and an amazing student population who work very hard with their teachers to understand, what they do, how are they going to demonstrate the knowledge that they have so they can be successful on those exams. And the exams are somewhat high stakes for students because obviously those are the ones that are going to determine if they earn the diploma. And I'll get to this in a little bit, but students can earn college credit through their IB diploma. So not only are kids learning how to think critically, learning how to explore a topic, learning how to advocate for themselves and create community projects and such, but they are also working towards earning this prestigious IB diploma, and 97% of our students can do that. And I'm so proud of our students last year. I think we had 82 seniors testing, and 81 out of 82 under such difficult circumstances, as you all know, were able to earn the diploma. So we're very proud of how well prepared our students are. So for your student coming into Lakewood High School, their 9th and 10th grade year, we call it IB prep. So it is the 9th and 10th grade where you're sort of preparing for moving into IB as a junior. Or if you choose not to do IB, then you are prepared for our AP program, which is also a rigorous program many of you might be familiar with. In our 9th and 10th grade classes, our teachers use variations of IB rubrics, IB assessments. They do the same thing with AP, so students are familiar with those. TOK questions, encourage students to get involved in clubs and activities that will contribute to CAS. And then we have, for our IB students who choose to go into IB, there are a lot of options. And so we work with students towards the end of their sophomore year, if they choose to move into the IB program, kind of personalized scheduling to create a schedule that works for them, that makes sure that they're fulfilling all of the requirements for the diploma, but are also doing that in classes that they enjoy. There are some students who might take their first year of an IB course as sophomores, and this would be students who want to study physics, and we have several, I would say a really good handful of students who double up in science for their IB diploma courses. So our students can take the first year of IB physics, also honors physics as sophomores, and then take the second year as a junior. And then if students are advanced or have had a year or more of a world language, so Spanish, French, we also offer Chinese. They may come into Lakewood, with French or Spanish honors too, as freshmen, and then in their sophomore year, they'll take the first year of their IB World Language, and as juniors take the second year. And students can test out of IB subjects up to 2 of those their junior year. So we do have juniors who test out of their world language, and then they can continue with that world language if they choose, pick up another world language, or they've got sort of a free spot where they can add in another class. So IB is well known. It's an international program, and so colleges are certainly aware of it. And so I've got some college perceptions of IB. From Duke University, the IB program is well established, well known, well respected. We think the IB curriculum is terrific. Princeton, the IB is a first-rate program, one we are familiar with, and it prepares students well for a university like ours. And then I'll let you, I won't read these two, I'll let you go ahead and read admissions from Utah State. And then this last one, I think let's see if that, well, that's not helpful. Yeah. I don't remember. Oh yeah, my screen is just a little bit too small here. So I think this last one is Sarah Lawrence. And if any of you are interested, at the end I'll show you who it is. Yeah, so go ahead and read those perceptions. Colleges do appreciate students who are in the IB diploma program. I've had counselors tell me, we have, counselors talk to students about what does an IB education mean for college, and it really is probably the most rigorous high school college preparatory program in the United States, the diploma program, because students are doing upper level work with, all of those 6 subjects, and then they're doing the extended essay, the theory of knowledge, and CAS. So, Lakewood High School. Why Lakewood High School? As I told you, our motto is we are family. We're a comprehensive high school. About 50% of our students are open enrolled. 2,100 students. I don't know if that's accurate this year, Dan.
Closer to 2.
Yeah, 2,200?
No, 2,000.
Oh, 2,000, right at 2,000. Yeah, and we have an academically diverse student body. We have academic pathways for, lots and lots of student choice. We have lots of activities, art, athletics, business, DECA film, publications, our instrumental music, technology, vocal music, theater, student government. We have a great lake program, unified athletes, sources of strength, diverse clubs and activities. Hopefully we're going to get some international travel going. I do think there are some teachers who are planning for that already. Every year we have 2 or 3 teachers taking students on international trips. As you know that all came to a halt with COVID, but we've got teachers who are picking that back up. The other great thing about Lakewood is that if we don't offer a club that you're interested in, you can start it. You just need a sponsor, and you should talk to Ms. Hart, our activities director, and you can start a club. So we really have something for everyone. And as you probably know, clubs and activities are such a great way to be connected to your school. So we're very proud of all the things our Lakewood students do. Some highlights. So 84% go on to post-secondary education. And this stuff is in our school profile, which is on our website, that you're welcome to check out. We have one of the highest SAT composite scores in Jefferson County. U.S. News and World Report, Newsweek, 5280, really annually were rated as one of the top schools in Denver. Better National Merit recipients, I think you just announced those, was it 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I don't know how many.
It's 15.
15 National Merit recognized students, which is amazing. Yeah, local and national awards in art, music, and theater. Yeah, and nearly 50% of our students participate in some aspect of athletics, which is amazing. So I kind of give you an overview, and I'm going to turn it over to our students and parents because they're the ones who are engaging in being a member of Lakewood High School as a student. So I'm going to introduce our parent first. This is Tara Sawinski. She has a senior in the IB program and a sophomore. And so she's going to, a junior. She was a sophomore at one time, now a junior. And so she's going to speak to how that's been for her girls and for her, how she's felt as a parent with kids in the IB program. So Ms. Sawinski, come on over.
Good evening, everyone. So as Ms. Kramer said, I've got a senior and a junior. And I'm probably here most to just share with you that it's a rigorous academic program, but I will also share that you can be heavily, heavily involved in other things outside of school, in school. I've got a daughter right now who's doing a high school sport, plus a club sport, plus had to do her EE, plus had to do her academics, plus has a presidency in another club outside of the school. So it is easy to be involved in other things. This is not going to be your whole life, and I think the teachers are very supportive of that, and they are extremely, they work with you. I think what I've seen for my daughters has been most important, especially I think we experienced it through COVID more, was just that support that was needed for our kids as they grappled with the at-home versus here. These teachers are amazing. The admin is amazing in helping these kids. So I also am not a Lakewood, I wouldn't feed to the school. My kids never homeschool. So we have chosen to come here, and we came from elsewhere in the Lakewood area, and we don't regret one bit of it. My girls have thrived through this, especially now that they're more involved in back in school. But they speak so highly of the teachers, and I'm going to let the kids, though, speak more to what they get out of this, because I think that's the most important message to hear. And I will also say, I have not had to babysit my kids. I was worried about, oh my goodness, how much am I going to have to be involved, keep them on track, and in fact, they don't even want you involved. They get annoyed if you ask, yes, Mom, I'm on it. And I think that's a testament, again, to the teachers, to the kids, and what they want to achieve. And I have been hands-off. I think this is the senior year is the hardest year, and I'm helping my oldest do some college app stuff just with all that she's got going on. But outside of that, I definitely have stayed, out of things, and the kids really do have this. So I highly recommend this program for all kids. And even if you try this for 9th and 10th grade year, I highly recommend you see what it's about. And I'm telling you, to this day, I still couldn't understand what all the options are and what the programs are. My kids got it, the teachers got it, I don't have to worry about it. So.
Okay, so students, if you guys want to come on up here. And we've got a great student panel. We've got two current seniors, two juniors, and we had a couple of sophomores. I'm not sure if they just couldn't make it, but I'm going to have them introduce themselves and just talk briefly about why they chose IB. Our seniors, why did you stay? Our juniors, why did you decide last year to move into the IB program? And then we'll kind of open it up for questions from you guys. Students, feel free to ask them about homework, about being involved in other things, because they're the ones actually doing the program. I administer it and make sure everybody, get all those moving parts fit together, but they're the ones doing it. So go ahead. Thank you guys.
Okay, hi everybody. So my name is Audrey Avery, and I'm an IB senior. And what I gotta say about IB is that you have to be self-motivated to do it, but once you're doing it, there's absolutely nothing like it. I love IB, and I won't lie, it gets tough sometimes, but there's such a great support system, and it really made worth choosing the IB path, for me at least personally. So I chose IB over AP. As Ms. Kramer said, IB really digs deep into subjects. What we study, I feel like I learn all the different nuances of, and I really have a deeper understanding and connection to the content. I've taken AP classes too. I've also really enjoyed AP. But Ms. Kramer's right, we definitely move through stuff a little bit faster, and I feel like I don't necessarily get that deeper perception that I do find in IB. And I will say transition from junior to senior year was a little bit rough due to COVID, but this program's great. The teachers are so supportive. The staff is so supportive. I mean, shout out to my mom who's sitting right there. Like, family is so supportive. And I think this is just really something great, and I would totally encourage everybody to do it.
Hi, I'm Madigan St. George. I'm an IB junior. And my decision to join IB came from a couple things. I'll agree with Avery, you really do have to be self-motivated. It's a big challenge, but if you're ready to take it on, it's absolutely doable. I also found IB really applicable to the career paths that I'm interested in, and so what Ms. Kramer mentioned about college credit is going to be something that's going to really help me out when I go to college and beyond that. And I really enjoy the IB community. I've always really liked the idea of the overarching themes that IB applies to all of its curriculum rather than just that content-based learning. And you will notice a lot of patterns and a lot of big ideas within the IB curriculum that I feel like make learning it significantly more interesting and much more applicable to everything else that you learn both inside and outside of school. I think there has rarely been a class that I have sat through and felt like it was terribly boring. And I didn't want to be there because it is a fast pace and you are always having something new to do. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Liam. I chose IB because I felt like it just did a little bit more than AP. Like AP, I mean, we have all the classes and they're hard and everything, but IB, you just take that extra step and I believe that like colleges see that. My brother Xander, he was a senior last year, so he just graduated, got into a really good college, and he was super well prepared, and he is not having any trouble with his classes, and he's doing great. And I think that's mostly because of IB. It kind of helped him prepare for that, and so that's why I chose it, because I was like, all right, how do I get to where I need to be in a good college? And I believe that IB is that. So, yep.
Hello, I'm Siobhan. I'm an IB senior, and why I chose IB was, interviewing with Lisa a little bit, AP is more like, it's more of like memorization, and it deters away from like actual applications to how the subject could relate to your life. Whilst IB, you have like more applications, you have the more of the why aspect, as Ms. Kramer was mentioning earlier. Like we have things called IAs for every class, which are like applications, like we actually like solve a real life, like a situation that pertains to real life within the subject area, which is kind of like a mini EE. And then your EE is like a giant research project where you get to choose your own application. And those are like some of the reasons why I chose IB, because they also factor into your exam grade. It's not based on like memorization. It's not based on like just cold hard facts and knowing them, names and dates, stuff like that. It's more based on how you can take the subject out of the classroom and into the real world.
Yeah, so Siobhan and Audrey, if you would tell me what you did for your extended essay.
For my extended essay, I did it on business and management, and I talked about electric vehicles, and I went in depth about the Volkswagen company at the moment and how they are adapting to the new environment and almost like catching up with the Tesla sales.
And I did my EE in psychology, and I studied the ethics and efficacy of electroconvulsive therapy, also casually known as shock therapy. I did a little bit of an investigation into that using some of the research that's been done internationally recently as it's become more popular as a treatment option.
Yeah. Questions. If any of you have questions for our students, feel free to ask. Or for our parents, either one. Anyone? Yeah.
As you're preparing for college, how does that work as far as like bringing in counselors and finding out colleges that are interested in that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so Audrey and Siobhan both can talk to that because they're going through that process right now.
I guess I'll start us off. So my counselor is great. She's helped me through every step of this process. She is new this year, so I haven't had as much of an opportunity to work with her, but in the years leading up to this, you have a meeting between your junior and your senior year that's called a junior year conference, and that's when your counselor really sits down with you, asks you, what do you think you want to do? How has this path prepared you? What do you need to take senior year to get you where you feel you need to go? And so in my case, I met all my prerequisites, so my counselor was like, just work hard, and choose an elective that makes you happy. But in terms of IB, a lot of colleges accept HL credits, so take HLs in subjects that you think might pertain to your career fields, and you should be really set. A lot of colleges also take SL credits, in which case you should come out with a rounded amount of credits. Obviously, it's personalized for each individual, so your counselor will totally walk you through every step of the way. But the counseling staff here at Lakewood has been super helpful, and I feel like IB has definitely prepared me to take this next step toward college.
Yeah, going off of what Avery said, the counselors are very helpful. We had a conference, like the junior conference that she was referencing. Mine was like an entire hour and a half long. We were just looking through things because I was like, as far as colleges go, I had the prerequisites met. I just did not really know what to do at the end of my junior year. I was kind of confused, but my counselor really helped guide me. Right now, I'm looking pretty solid. All my college applications are just about finalized, and it's like it's a really good community as long as you talk to your counselor. And IB is also helpful in that because it helps me meet the prerequisites. It helps me take that extra step because colleges want to see that you're at least selected colleges want to see that you're challenging yourself. They want to see that you're in school and you're doing the hardest things you can do in the school. And the hardest thing I think you can do in Lakewood High School is probably the IB program.
Yeah, other questions? Yeah, if any of you are school of choice students, what made you decide on Lakewood High School in particular in the IB program, also as opposed to other programs that might be at other high schools?
So I open enrolled, my feeder school would have been Ralston Valley, and I went to Manning for middle school, and I open enrolled here at Lakewood through the IB program, which I'm assuming is what a lot of you are considering. And I, even as an 8th grader, was very interested in that accelerated and more challenging curriculum like IB and AP is. And another really big thing that kind of sold Lakewood to me was the community here. I am so glad that I chose to go to Lakewood. Having friends at other schools, at A West, at RV, anywhere else, I can certainly attest to the community here at Lakewood and how supportive and welcoming it is. You can really find your niche and find your people and make high school something that is a good experience and is useful to you for the rest of your life, whether it's your education or the credits you get and what you learn. It's a really wonderful community that will definitely push you where you would like to be in life.
I'll speak really quickly on it, although you covered pretty much every talking point I have. I think one thing I'll say, it sounds a little bit biased because it's completely biased, but that you will not find anywhere better than Lakewood High School, and that's not like propaganda. I wasn't forced to say this, but I truly have found my place here, especially within the IB program. I know a lot of you are probably sitting here because you're students, you want to go far, you like learning, and there's nothing better than being in a classroom surrounded by people who also like learning, because you're not shamed for being smart, you're not shamed for wanting to have these open discussions. And it's a community where I feel like you can really, like you said, really express yourself and really find where you belong. So if nothing else, even if you choose not to do IB, I really hope you do consider Lakewood High School because there's a place for everyone here, and it is so near and dear to my heart. So.
Yeah, Liam or Siobhan, you want to add to that?
Yeah, sure. So about finding your community, freshman and sophomore year, I didn't have a huge friend group. I had my close friends and that was about it. And then once I got into the IB program, you're taking classes with the same 100 people or something, and you get really close with these people, and it's a really great group. It's like a friendship almost. You're just really good friends with this little group of people, and I like that personally.
Was Lakewood your home school, Liam?
I was in Manning too, so I don't think so. But I came here because my brother Xander came here, so I didn't really.
Lakewood is actually my home school. I went to Gary Middle School and I came here, but I'm adding to the fact that the community is really big in Lakewood High School, especially also in the IB program. Just like Liam said, I didn't have much, I didn't have a lot of close friends. I had a couple friends freshman, sophomore year. Once I entered the IB program, you kind of like find your people in a way, because you're surrounded by people that have the same motivation as you, that are facing common struggles. And then you guys end up like, forming little friend circles and then have unity with each other.
Yeah.
Can you touch on workload, how many hours you study after school, that sort of, you keep mentioning it's hard.
Well, to start us off, workload is pretty intensive, but I feel like it's accomplishable if you are productive. Like that's the one key in IB. That's one of the successful tips. Is like once you get homework, like find time to do it. Like don't let stuff pile on, and then you won't have a lot of homework. You probably have like I can't really do like an hour exactly. It's like it depends on how much you've been like, because sometimes some weeks are more productive, some weeks are less productive. It just depends on how much work is piling up, how much like, if it's finals, if it's tests, stuff like that. I'd say on average, like maybe like, if you're, just like I said, if you're being successful and being productive, it should only be like 2 to 3 hours of work.
Yeah, sure. For me, I mean, it's really not that bad. I mean, I was like freshman, sophomore year, I mean, it was really easy. I didn't even have homework at home. Like I could do it in my off blocks and I didn't even have to bring any home. And then once I got into IB, I have both of my last periods off, so I can get off of school at like 1:30. And then I go home and I usually can finish all my homework by 3, so when school ends. And like, as long as you're not like studying for a big test or like preparing for an essay or something like that, I mean, it's maybe like 1 or 2 hours and it's really manageable. Yep.
I'm a little different from Liam. I definitely had some late nights. Freshman and sophomore year was definitely very much so in the mindset that I was like, yeah, I have the best time management. And then I got into IB. I was like, ha ha, whoa. But it really does kind of force you to shape up and make that time management happen. And if you are able to do so, it is a manageable workload. It by no means is it easy. By no means is it fast. But it is something that is not going to kill you. Like you're
We
able
have
to
not
do
lost
it.
anyone yet.
Yeah.
That we know of.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Probably 2 to 3 hours is the average. And it's really all about how you choose to manage your time. I'm the co-chair of a club. I'm part of orchestra, and I do like pit orchestra and have rehearsals and do other things outside of school, and I still manage to get an adequate amount of sleep. So it's doable if you manage your time, but it is certainly a lot of work.
I think IB is what you make of it, and that mindset has definitely a little bit more from junior to senior year. But what I will tell you is, you're not alone. These teachers, they're holding your hand and they're guiding you to time management, even if you don't want to go and you're kicking and screaming and you're saying, I won't do my homework, you can't make me. You will, I promise. They'll break you. But no, I'm serious. In all honesty, IB is what you make of it. If you choose to put a lot of pressure on yourself and you choose to study for 5 to 6 hours a night, you can do that. You can totally do that. But you can also spend 1 to 2 hours studying. And then you can go to a soccer game. And then you can go out to eat with your friends. And then you can come home and be in bed by 10:30. So it is what you make of it. And while I will say I struggled with the workload junior year a little bit, that was an adjustment period. But looking back now, it's really not that bad. And so be gentle with yourself. Take your time to realize that school isn't everything. IB will be there when you wake up. You're not going to fail overnight. So if you take it easy and really just enjoy the experience, it's tough. I won't lie. It's tough, but it's completely worth it, and it's totally doable.
Yeah.
How many students start the IB program but drop out and don't finish it?
So I would say we have students who will come in as IB prep students, and they pretty much stay that until sophomore year. And then it really varies. I would say on average between 30 up to 40% choose a different academic pathway. So I'm trying to think of, I think our senior class this year is like 92 maybe, and you guys probably started with maybe 150? Could be. Yeah, so it kind of just depends on the year.
I guess I meant more like once you're in your junior and senior year, how many drop out?
Oh, so between junior
junior and senior year, honestly, it's maybe I think as long as I've been coordinator, I would say the most any junior or the most amount of students maybe would be 20 from junior to senior year. And we do have a small handful who will leave. You know, they decided to go into junior year, and then they decide not to, so they take a different pathway. But once students are in, they tend to stay, stay through their junior year. A very small handful who would leave after junior year, beginning of senior year. Yeah. So the biggest dip is between sophomore and junior year. Yeah, right there.
I'm curious to hear from the students, what are some of the other things that you do at Lakewood outside of IB? We've already heard about orchestra and such, but what else do you do?
I'm Sources of Strength leader, and yes, Ms. Lejeune in the back, she's a leader, she's great. If you ever join the program, you'll love her. But Sources of Strength is a mental health initiative within Lakewood High School. I participate in that within school and outside of school a little bit. I also played tennis for Lakewood for 2 years. I was a member of the choir for 3 years. I have worked multiple jobs while being in the IB program on and off. I have participated in different clubs, from political activism to saving the environment. There's a lot you can do, and I can do all of it, but I did a lot of it. And being an IB also really does help with those other things, because IB kids are everywhere. We are little leeches in every area of the school. So you will always have a friend in anything you do, truly.
Yeah, so here at Lakewood, aside from IB, I am a link leader, which includes a pretty decent amount of our time during school. So our job is basically to help our freshmen acclimate to the school environment and the community and make it through their freshman year pretty happy and healthy. So we spend some time with them during the week, and we'll also do activities outside of school. Other than that, I have a job. I will work during the week. I have played a sport. I'm an orchestra. I founded and am the co-chair of a club that has weekly meetings. Yeah, like Avery said, you can find an IB kid everywhere if you want to.
What is your club? What club is
I'm the co-chair of Amnesty International. Yeah, so we started unofficially in May of last year and officially this semester.
Yeah, so I am also a link leader, and like Madigan said, it takes up a lot of our time during the day, like during the week. And then also I play tennis. I played tennis all 3 years I've been here, and I also pole vault. I am the only pole vaulter at Lakewood. So that means I'm the best pole vaulter. I also am a proud member of Club's Bagswell. We decorate bags for old people on Tuesday mornings, and that's about it. And then I also I have an interview tomorrow for a job. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that goes well. And yeah, that's about it. Hang out with my friend a lot. Yeah.
I'm also a link leader, surprise, surprise. Yeah. And I also do this program called TECO, which I've done for the past 2 years, which is like a business management program where we compete, try to go into state, nationals. You basically get a prompt, and you're working as if you're like in the business, and you're presenting to the consumer, who's usually like the judge, and then they just judge you based on your performance. I'm also in this club called Kiva Club, which is we give small loans to businesses in like third world countries. It's every Tuesday morning. I've also done a couple other clubs at Lakewood High School. I'm also an IB ambassador, which is we kind of just go around helping out with IB events. We plan out some events. Not this one actually. I don't think we did. We plan out some other events pertaining to like our class and our school environment and stuff like that.
Yeah, so we'll have, there's one more question, and then I think all of you guys have said you can hang out a little bit afterwards, and then you guys can ask them additional questions. If there's one more, yeah.
So roughly 100 students in IB out of 2,000 students in the school. Do you guys feel like you're separate from the rest of the school community as your own little IB community off on the side, or do you feel very involved with the rest of the student body?
Yeah, and I'll just clarify, so our senior class is about 100, our juniors, I think we've got about 120 or so right now, and then right around 100 each for our freshmen and sophomores. So I think our freshmen, I think a little bit more than that. So it's probably pretty close to total 500 kids involved in IB prep and then IB. But as individual classes, you know, we've got about 197 seniors. Yeah. So, what do you guys say?
I was gonna say that like in IB, it's like I don't feel really separated from the rest of the school community. I still go to like school events, I go to football games, go to soccer games, and then to a couple of volleyball games. I have friends that sophomore year we kind of have like it's kind of like a split. Like there's some kids that decide to go with AP, there's some kids that decide to go with IB. I still have friends that are in the AP program. I still hang out with them. I still take classes that are like not IB classes, like orchestra. I'm going to take economics, and then there's a couple other classes. I know some kids have to take like gym and stuff. So you always have interactions with like a student body outside of IB. So it's not like your own separate thing. Only when you're like in your classes, and classes like my IB business class, I have kids that are in AP as well because you can still take the class even if you don't want to do IB.
Yeah, I mean, like, you definitely are with your group of people for a lot of your classes, but then there's like, in my French class, there's like sophomores, and there's IB students, and AP students, and honor students, and like there's a big mix there, so it depends on which classes you take, really. Yeah, so like you still get connections, I guess, outside of IB, which is good. Yeah.
I think the way that I would describe it is that Lakewood's kind of like a neighborhood. And so you have your house, and maybe you're living in the IB house, or you're living in the like orchestra house, or you're living in the sports house. But you go visit your friends, and you go different places, and you hang out with other people, and maybe you go to dinner somewhere, maybe you go, I don't know, read the paper. But really, I have never felt isolated from the Lakewood community as an IB student. And I think the same is applicable for whatever niche you find. You're not going to find yourself feeling alienated or isolated from the Lakewood community, quite the opposite, honestly. You're going to find it as something that will bring you closer to the rest of the people at Lakewood, because everybody has a connection. And it's kind of like a very big spider web. Yeah, but you're certainly not alone.
As everybody said, yeah, I really don't think it's isolating. I will say, it's kind of its own little bubble. We see each other in all of our classes, especially in my class. I have the classes with everybody I've had classes with since junior year, and it's great because we all know how to talk to each other. But along those lines, I think it's so important to get involved at Lakewood. So as a freshman, I always say join a random club or a sport you've never played, or pick up an instrument for the first time in your life, because those outside connections do really help, because, I mean, who doesn't want to have more friends? But at the end of the day, you know, lunches are mixed. I sit with all my AP friends and my honors friends and my non-honors friends at lunch, and it's great because I get to see them and we all get to complain about, oh, the day's so long, I'm so hungry, I'm so cold, etc. But I think it's great, and I think if you are maybe a little bit lonely or you're worried you aren't making friends, you will find them at IB. So in that way too, it's great for making those connections. And if you need a bubble, we are a bubble. You can't get away from us. You are warned. But it's a good place to be, I promise.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much. So we're going to wrap things up, and then they'll be here if you guys have additional questions for them. So if you are thinking that this might be a good program for you, a good fit, as they have talked about, if you're self-motivated, you like an academic challenge, you can multitask and manage time, or you're willing to be, dragged into doing that, as Audrey said, completing tasks efficiently, and you like being part of pleasant activities, then the IB program might certainly be for you. I also do want to point out, they alluded to it a little bit, the benefit or potential of earning college credits. So all public schools in Colorado, colleges and universities, so CU, CSU, UNC, Western State, Adams State, the Department of Higher Education several years ago created essentially a rule that students who earn the IB diploma automatically earn 24 credit hours at those schools. So if you go to one of our state universities, you essentially have sophomore status. The way that they, the subject areas in which they give you those credits vary from school to school, but many of our students have taken advantage of that. Some have graduated a year early because of that. Some have decided to do a year abroad and not have to worry about the academics so much during their year abroad. And there are lots of other colleges and universities around the country and the world who honor IB scores and give credit. So that is another really nice advantage to, or opportunity for your IB diploma. So as I said, we do have an application, and that application will post on Wednesday, in the morning on Wednesday. So if you're interested, you want to make sure that you have your core teacher's emails, the name of your home school, and then we also have what we call an application day. That's going to be on December 4th. It's a Saturday, and you'll come to Lakewood for, I think it's an hour and a half. Take a school tour. Parents will have an opportunity to meet with a parent panel. We've got another student panel for just students, and you'll have an opportunity to meet with our principal. And so when you submit the application, you'll be directed immediately to a link for you to sign up for a spot on that application day. I also, before we wrap things up, I absolutely want to introduce one of the women who just holds the IB program together. Now, today she's a cameraman, a woman of many, many talents. So that is Joanne Justo. She is our IB secretary. And so if you have questions about the application, about shadowing, she is your go-to. Of course, you can call or email myself as well, but Joanne is an amazing resource here at Lakewood. So if you are interested, you just need to go to the Lakewood High School website, which I imagine the majority of you have been there. And if you go under Academics to IB, this will give you an opportunity to kind of tool around our website. There will be on Wednesday morning right here when you pull it up an application button that'll take you right to the application. But I do want to just show you these tabs. I'm not going to go through them, but if you're interested in like CAS or your like that extended essay sounds interesting, here are tabs where you can get a little more information about each of those different things. This one here is an academic pathways, and this might be one that you might find interesting or helpful now, because it really does sort of lay out, let me see if I can get it to go here, lay out what your 4 years can potentially look like. So there's some little graphs here with all of these different courses that you have the opportunity to take. And so that might help you, make a decision to apply, or at least give you an idea of what we have to offer here at Lakewood. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and your questions. Thank you to our students and parents. And I'll be here, I'll just come right down there, as will our students and parents if you guys have additional questions. Hope to see you next year. I mean, before that too. Hopefully you guys will apply.